Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Welcome back, oddballs. Welcome to the Oddity Shop podcast. I'm your curator, Zach, sitting here with the lovely, the only Kara. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. And in case this is the first time you're stopping by the shop, this is the podcast where we tell you creepy, odd, weird, bizarre, strange stories from around our oddball globe.
All right, well, I'm going to get right into it because I know a lot of people are wondering, and did I write Robert the Doll a letter from all of us? Yes, I did. Did I mail that letter the very next day that we recorded that episode? Yes, no. I did.
Oh, you did?
What did I think you thought I was lying. I typed that up, sent it to you.
I knew you were going to send it.
Nope, I wrote it out.
I just didn't know when it would get in the mail.
The very next fucking day, because you know why? I wanted it ahead of time.
Proud of you.
I don't want to take no damn chances.
It's going to get there before he even hears the episode.
Oh, it already did because, well, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's been there.
Noise.
We might have to send another one.
Thank you for saving us from curses.
And from all the listeners, I signed it.
Oh, perfect. Blanket protection. All right. See, guys, we provide value.
I signed it, Zach and Kara, or Kara, Zach, whatever, from the Oddity Shop podcast, and all their listeners.
Perfect.
So there's that.
All right. So other than protecting me and every one of our listeners from curses, what's new with you?
I mean, not really anything, because I took a week off of work and literally did nothing. Like, I actually sat on the couch doing absolutely nothing for most days, which is kind of what you did on your time off at like the exact same time. And it was fabulous.
We both took a staycation because we were burned out.
Needed it.
So I did mostly relaxing on the couch, but I did have one little like nice self-care day. And I went and I got a tarot reading. I went to a couple metaphysical shops and spent way too much on rocks per usual.
You got a tattoo?
I got a tattoo. And then I went to a kava bar.
What is that?
It's like a earthy kind of tea.
That's kind of what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it tastes like crap. In all honesty, it tastes horrible, but so with me doing the dry January, which I've already decided is going to get extended through February, although this episode's going to come out in March. So we'll report back and see how I did.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes you chatty. It kind of makes you really relaxed, but there's no like hangover there. It only lasts for like a little bit of time, but it's kind of a nice like drink replacement. And the bar is really cool. Like it seemed like it was really full of like just open-minded people. It's very light. It's very quiet. So I could hear everything. Like you just start chatting with people.
So there's like
you.
Different flavors or what? Like what did you
like? The tea itself, or like it's just ground up root in the water, basically. It tastes like dirt.
But they probably have different.
You add dairy to it, like an oat milk or regular milk or whatever, and then you can add a flavor shot. So I did a strawberry cheesecake flavor.
And you didn't like it?
So it kind of masks the earthiness.
Or just because you're like, it doesn't taste like strawberry cheesecake.
You taste the strawberry cheesecake, but you taste like a bitter dirt underneath it.
I think I would like this, but I don't want to do strawberry cheesecake. I'd rather lean into the dirt.
So they have like some like chocolatier flavors and stuff.
Okay.
But I've done that, and it's like it almost, instead of leaning into the dirt, it doesn't cancel it out enough, where at least the strawberry cheesecake, the tangy of the fruit kind of goes with the bitter of...
Okay, but see, I guess what I was thinking is more like, I would rather do like, I don't know, like, this is probably a bad example, but I love cucumber water because it kind of just tastes like grass, even though I don't want to eat grass. It just tastes like nature to me. So to me, I would want to lean more into that aspect versus like a sweet desserty thing.
Gotcha.
People are like, this is stupid. Why are we listening to this? I agree.
Seriously.
What the fuck? This is
that was it.
This is not supposed to be. We'll talk about this after.
That was just my self-care day. But yeah, otherwise that's about it. I'm feeling a little bit recharged though. How about you?
Yes, I'm very recharged. I was disappointed to go back.
Same. The real world hurts hard.
Yes, all the concerned listeners. I'm drinking my Poppy with a plastic straw today, okay?
No broken teeth.
Yes, so there's that.
We're all proud of you.
All right, we ready? We good?
I'm good.
Okay, so we might have asked this question before maybe to each other, or I asked it or whatever, but honestly, I was too lazy to go back and figure it out, so I don't really give a shit. So I'm asking it again if that's the case. What natural disaster would you want to experience least? I think we did ask this.
I think you asked it the opposite way, though. So
maybe
I'll say this is fair. The least. I think I'm going to say tsunami. Because I feel like those kind of come up like without much warning, and like
water scary.
Where the fuck are you gonna go?
That's funny because I knew you were gonna ask me because you're always doing a never-ending answer, and I think that's exactly what I would say because that for that exact reason. Like I understand a lot of natural disasters, like where are you gonna go? But when you think of like floods and stuff, that is yeah,
because like tornadoes or hurricanes, you could at least get to shelter. Fires kind of hard, but I feel like you have a better chance of outrunning a fire than you do a tsunami.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't know where you'd go for safe shelter. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I'm defending the answer you agreed with.
All right. Yeah. So I would agree with you. Everybody else, let me know what you would pick least. Okay.
All right. So we're talking about natural disasters, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, kind of. Okay. So on Tuesday, September 19th, which that's my dad's birthday, RIP, 2017, tragedy shook Mexico. 20 seconds of shaking to be exact. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake struck Mexico around 1 p.m. So this is located about 75 miles from Mexico City. The quake caused most damage to, I think it's Pueblo and Morelos, and in the greater Mexico City area. So obviously, earthquakes, they're not just like,
They're kind of all over.
So its epicenter, which is the point on the Earth's surface vertically above the focus of the earthquake, was about 34 miles from the south city of Pueblo, though. I didn't know this, and this is crazy, and I think you'll love this, but Mexico is one of the world's most seismically active regions. So it's sitting atop several intersecting tectonic plates. So plate tectonic is specifically, or is scientific, Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, specifically and scientifically kind of are the same.
Okay, so sitting atop several intersecting tectonic plates, okay? Mm-hmm. Plate tectonic is the scientific theory that Earth's lithosphere comprises, Jesus Christ, everybody kill me, a number of large tectonic plates, which have been slowly moving since about 3.4 billion years ago. Basically, the lithosphere is the rigid outermost rocky shell of the terrestrial planet or natural satellite. So if we dumb version this, where Mexico is located on the Earth is on top of plates of almost a rock that are shifting and cracking in an extreme way. But I just found it fascinating because I guess I never really thought about it where there's a more...
Yeah, I guess I did know.
But it makes sense.
There's a lot of earthquakes, but I didn't realize how many tectonic plates were going on there.
Yeah, so basically causing them to be located in a high earthquake activity area, which it obviously makes sense because like we don't get earthquakes. We don't get this because we're not in that type of area. Like, so it makes sense. But when I was reading about it, I was like, I feel stupid because I don't know, it's crazy.
Out of sight, out of mind sort of thing.
Exactly. This extreme caused the collapse of more than 40 buildings. 652 homes were destroyed. It's estimated that 370 people were killed and 6,000 were injured.
Okay, see, I was shocked by how low the building count was, but I didn't realize you weren't counting houses in that. Like, you're talking, like, bigger than houses.
Correct. And so, I don't know. I know, but why do I feel like I know 370 is a lot of deaths, but I don't know why I was thinking it was, like, more. Maybe just...
Yeah, you would assume with how many places are physically destroyed, yeah.
Right. And then there were 24 aftershocks reported. But meaning there were probably more that just weren't reported because you figure this is like crazy chaos. Like,
right.
And they lasted for several days after, which I don't think people realize that the aftershocks go on.
Yeah, I mean, I knew they could go on for some hours and stuff, but days...
Can you imagine?
I feel like you'd almost get seasickness.
Right. And like you already went through this major tragedy and it's lasting now for days, essentially. I just don't really know. Now, I think most of us, like we think of an earthquake, we think of buildings falling and debris, ground shaking, roads cracking and ground like being erupted, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think it's a lot more, right? So if you really think about it, you get fires, gas leaks, you can get landslides, cue Fleetwood Mac, or if you're a remix of Dixie Chicks, mudslide, avalanches, tsunamis, depending on where you are, and just so much more. So you have to figure all of this shit's happening, and then you're getting fires, gas leaks, like explosions from cars.
On top of that, your entire infrastructure, so your water mains, your gas lines, all that stuff is just,
it's giving me goosebumps just thinking about it. I fucking hate it. Okay. So alarm and cell phone alerts started only a few seconds before the earthquake. So realistically, depending on where you were, you got those alerts during the earthquake. So how eerie is that?
No time.
That would literally be like getting an Amber Alert, and like you get the description of the vehicle literally seconds before you just saw it drive away.
Right.
Like, how eerie is that? Like, I don't even send me the alert.
Exactly.
I don't need it.
I'd rather not know. This is the same reason why I don't look at the weather.
Right.
I don't want to know what's coming. I want to be pleasantly surprised.
Do you feel the most powerful and beautiful with the elements of the earth around you? Do you like one-of-a-kind jewelry? Do you sometimes feel like a woodland fairy? Me too. That's why I created Holly and Hemlock, a magical shop filled with handmade wooden jewelry and metaphysical tools. Come check out our enchanting wooden wares at www.hollyhemlock.com and join us in honoring the magic and beauty of nature with each unique creation. That's www.hollyhemlock.com.
Some residents reportedly mistook the alert for a continuation of an earlier drill, because a national earthquake drill was held at 11 a.m. that day, 2 hours before this happened.
Oh my God.
What are the fucking odds of that? Like, that gives me goosebumps in itself. Let's get a little bit odder. So the drill was to commemorate the 1985 quake because it happened on September 19th. Sound familiar?
There's no way anybody took that alert seriously then.
So on September 19th, 1985, an 8.1 magnitude earthquake killed 5,000 people, injured 30,000, and left 100,000 homeless. That's the worst case coincidence that you are commemorating all those people and all that loss that day. I think it was like 32 years after that same day, you have this drill, you remember all these people that died, and then 2 hours later you have almost the exact same, like, you know, a 7.1 earthquake.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's so wild. Ugh.
What are the actual chances?
In 2017, though, the international response to this tragedy was amazing. So this is all according to Wikipedia, and I just wanted to it's going to be kind of lengthy, but I'm going to try to go through it quickly. So according to Wikipedia, like I said, countries that came to Mexico's aid were Argentina, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, El Salvador, Germany, Honduras, Israel, Japan, Panama, Peru, Russia, Spain, South Korea, Switzerland, Turkey, and the United States, the Vatican, Venezuela, like so many people.
So all of them.
Yes. But it was just listed all of it. And I was like, well, I didn't want to say all of them. So Russia delivered 35 tons of aid supplies to Mexico, including 24.5 tons of canned goods and 64 community-sized tents. Which, when you read all this stuff, it really just puts in perspective how bad this was. China shipped 3,000 tents along with more than 500 camp cots. Canada sent 1,500 family-sized tents. The Israel Defense Force sent a group of 71 search and rescue soldiers. Japan International sent disaster relief team. Turkish State Aid Agency sent humanitarian. I can't say the word.
Humanitarian.
Thank you. Aid, including packages containing hygienic and medical supplies. They provided tools and equipment, and they use for use of search and rescue efforts. This cracks me up because this is all verbatim from Wikipedia. U.S. President Donald Trump called to offer condolences, while the White House offered search and rescue assistance.
Of course he doesn't want to help Mexico.
So anyway, there's just so much help, right? So there's so many countries helping. They're sending all these resources. This is wild when you think of it. So, and of course, alongside a ton of different celebrities donated the money, but I don't really care about them, so I didn't list them. So we've said it before, natural disasters or disasters in general, they do something, right? They bring out the best in humanity, which is kind of one of those, it's so sad because you don't want this shit to happen, but then when you see it, it's actually
when even
awesome.
Russia is sending aid.
Right. So You know where there is like a major tragic event, there's always one tragedy that like stands out from the majorly, and it's like majorly reported on, right? So like, do you know what I mean? Like, so with this,
the one
it's
that
like
kind of gets it to like pull at the heartstrings. And,
yes. Okay. So for the 2017 earthquake, it was Frida Sophia. Sound familiar?
Okay.
No?
It does. I mean, I remember when this happened. The name sort of sounds familiar, but it's not ringing any bells.
Okay, well, Frida Sophia was a 12-year-old girl. Now, I wish I could tell you that the spotlight was on her for her humanitarianism and volunteering, but sadly that's not it.
Yeah, they need a tough one to get the aid.
Frida Sophia was stuck under the rubble of Enrique Rebsamen School. I think it's actually Rebsamen, whatever. You get it, the school.
I can't help you with that one.
Sorry, everybody. I put it in abbreviation so I would remember, and I didn't. Okay, so she's stuck under the rubble in her school, okay? Along with numerous children and adults trapped, and they've been there for more than 32 hours, okay?
Got it.
So on Wednesday, workers told local media that they had detected a little girl. As you can imagine, people rallied around to rescue little Frida. So they know that there's other people in there, but they can primarily see her. So Naval Admiral Jose Vergara Lara told the media that after 4 hours of rescue operations, they had detected a little girl who was alive. She was alive and speaking to them through a hole dug into the rubble, which is so fucking heartbreaking.
Just the claustrophobia.
Right. So Dr. Alfredo Vega said that the girl who he identified as Frida Sophia was basically sandwiched between two slabs.
Ugh.
Oh my fucking 32 hours.
I might take back my tsunami answer. I don't want to go through this.
I don't either. I don't know. Okay. So he said she is alive and she is telling us that there are 5 more children alive. So can you imagine this poor I have goosebumps. Wait, can you imagine this poor 12-year-old girl? She's sandwiched between these two slabs of what I don't know, but of course the building. So it ain't gonna be great no matter what. And she's just basically saying, like, through this little hole that, like, yeah, I'm alive, and there's other children that are alive, and they can't get to them.
That would just be so terrifying.
I know. They were able to use thermal imaging to see her and, like, possible multiple more people around her. There was wild stuff. I mean, they were sending these, like, rabbits that were trained rabbits for, like, this natural disasters and, like, sending them in with cameras to different places, just like to see if it was safe, like wild stuff, okay? At one point, a rescue dog was sent inside to confirm that she was alive. So the rescue dog could get in with the camera, I would assume, and like, she's alive. Okay.
I kind of like these rescue rabbits, though.
Isn't that hilarious? At first I thought it said rats, but then no, it said rabbits. And I'm like, that is so freaking cute.
Interesting.
They probably have little helmets on, a little vest, worker vest, the camera.
No petting, I'm working.
So rescuers called to her to move her hands if she could hear them, because they could see that, and they could see her little fingers moving.
Okay.
And this just like sent social media and rescuers like in a frenzy, because they were like, oh my God, like this, there's hope. Like we got to get her. Like she's moving her little fingers. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things that it just like blew up. And there's articles of like her wiggling fingers. Like it was just the whole thing. And it was just like their biggest sign of hope at that point. So a volunteer rescue, Hector Mendez, said that it wasn't clear if anyone else, though, besides that girl was actually alive. So she maybe didn't realize, like she just could see these other kids around her. She didn't really know, or maybe they were in a class with her. You know what I mean? Like she's saying that they're alive, but they're like, I don't think that they are.
Yeah.
Which is even more heartbreaking. Mexican newspaper El Universal reported on September 21st, Frida said, I'm thirsty. I'm okay. Please don't take too long. Remember, this happened on the 19th. This is the 21st.
Yeah, that's already days.
I'm thirsty. I'm okay. Please don't take too long.
If they can see her fingers, how can they not get water to her?
That's so funny, because my next line was, people are frantic to get her out, but they were actually feeding her milk through a tube.
Okay.
And they're doing milk, obviously, so it's a little bit more than water.
Yeah, get some actual nutrients.
I want to cry. So crews are working around the clock to remove debris and try to get in safely. The problem is that this was a 3-story school. So you have to think of everything that fell. And I don't necessarily know what floor she was on, but either way, 3, you know what I mean? Like 3 layers of debris and rubble. And it's exactly. So they were using wide steel pipes big enough to crawl through to try to create a tunnel in.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. So that they could kind of get into and they wouldn't be, if anything else kind of fell on them, they could, whatever. So it's just, it's crazy. Madness. So this is one of those situations though that it's like people are volunteering and they're getting hurt and injured and like dying. And like we kind of talk about this with like the spelunking thing. It's like some of the rescuers for spelunkers, they get trapped and they die themselves. It's like,
right. You're going into the exact same precarious situation that the person
Yeah. Government rescue worker Alejandro Herrera said, there are sounds, but we don't know if they are coming from inside or if it is the sound of the rubble, which is so creepy to me because think
are they
of
saying
it.
That it sounds like humans?
Well, yeah. So they can hear people like in there. They can hear things in there, right? Because they've got like cameras and stuff. And it's like you don't know what you're actually hearing. Because think of how eerie that would be. Like things are still collapsing around you, like rubble and debris is moving. Like it's just so.
Oh, okay. So they don't know if it's people moving. I thought they were confusing the sound of the settling with voices.
But kind of, because it's like groaning and stuff. Like, are we hearing groanings? Is it the settling? And what is it? Like they don't know. It's just, it's wild and it's so sad. So like I was saying, this was highly reported on little Sophia. Frida Sofia. So Mexican YouTuber Ryan Hoffman tweeted, little Frida Sofia has survived 32 hours trapped under the rubble, fighting for her life. A real fighter. Soon she will be out of it. That was shared 5,000 times. Hashtag Frida Sofia was posted everywhere, like everywhere. This rescue mission is like all that everybody could talk about. So like we said, there's so much going on everywhere else. But we are all honed in on this school with this little 12-year-old girl wiggling her little fingers. Not that we shouldn't be, but it's just one of those things where it's like there's so much other stuff going on. This is all the media, social media, news outlets can hold on to is just to rescue this little girl.
I feel like maybe because there was like a little bit of hope that they were trying to...
Yeah. Okay. So how are you feeling at this moment?
Anxious, claustrophobic, sad. Do you even have to ask? Like, that's a stupid question, Kara.
I didn't know if you had any other feelings. Okay.
I'm thrilled.
So on Wednesday, there is said to be 2 or 3 bodies found.
At the school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like they get out. They're bodies. They're not alive.
Yeah, no, I figured that when you said bodies.
I just told you about all this media coverage and how big of a story this was, right?
Yeah.
No one came for Frida.
What do you mean?
No one came for her.
Not all these rescuers?
Well, how would you have all of this going on and no one came for her that actually knew her? No family, no friends, nobody that was like actually...
Like anybody who wasn't just a rando?
Correct.
Is she not real?
Well, or you could just say that her whole entire family died. But I'm just putting this out there.
Okay.
Like, how weird is that? Because even you'd have to think that she probably has family somewhere else that was seeing all of this. Like, but nobody came. I guess, how do you get there? Because you can't. I don't know. Just
it'd be very rare for the entire family to...
Right. Okay. So, now how are you feeling?
I mean, not very different, Kara.
Okay. After 2
Sadder.
days, right, and then no one's coming for her. After 2 days and what seemed to be a hopeful rescue, like they were all like, we're close, like, you know, we're seeing little fingers, like we're getting there. Navy Assistant Secretary Enrique, I'm going to butcher this, Sarmentillo, yep, sure, had announced that all the school's children had been accounted for.
What?
But Sophia is still down there.
So when they're saying they're seeing her fingers, is this on a camera or is it like out of the ground these fingers are popping up?
So that's the thing. I tried to actually verify that for sure, and it goes both ways. But the fingers were definitely seen. She was seen on camera. They spoke to her. They fed her milk. But again, maybe she was just somebody's daughter or something, like a teacher's daughter that she brought in. Like, you don't know, or I don't know.
Right.
Okay. So he stated, we want to emphasize that we have no knowledge about the report that emerged with the name of a girl. We do not believe, we are sure it was not a reality. What the fuck? So you have a Navy Assistant Secretary reporting that now.
Is this a Mexican Navy or is this like aid Navy? Okay.
So now Frida Sofia like infuriated Mexico because they're like, what is going on?
Are they still seeing her on camera?
Well, they stopped the search. So basically, even if this was like a feel-good story, it was like really harmful. So Frida Sofia siphoned resources away from other affected areas, right? There were plenty of other areas that could have used those that dedicated time. And now the government looks a little shady as they were being reported, like they were reporting this as fact. Mexico City started circulating instructions, like, and this is like a quote, before sharing news about the effects of an earthquake, verify the information with government sources, rectify the data before taking any action, inform the appropriate authorities. Because none of this made no sense. And people are furious because they held on to this for like days, like we talked about. They're putting all this resource, all this time, they're trying to get in there. And then all of a sudden, every child is accounted for. Everybody in that building is, but all the children for sure are accounted for. And now the source is just off because there's no Frida Sophia.
And not one person ever has come forth saying,
no,
like, that was my kid or whatever who was at the school extra that day.
No. Again, this makes no sense.
No.
We seen Frida on the camera. We saw her fingers wiggle. We talked to her and we fed her. So like, what the hell is going on? Now, like I said at the top of the episode, in certain catastrophes, we cling to one event to focus on, which is called Identifiable Victim Effect. And the Identifiable Victim Effect describes the likelihood that we feel greater empathy and the urge to help in situations where tragedies are about a specific identifiable individual compared to a situation where the victims are a larger, vaguer group of people, which is kind of like what we talked about.
Yeah, it makes sense because then you can personify like the whole catastrophe to one person, and it's easier to do that than think about a whole like group.
Okay. Was this a feel-good story to bring everyone together? But like, how would the outcome be good? So like, if somebody was just like, oh my God, let's try to like, I don't know why they would do this.
I don't agree with that one because you could have found an actual struggling person.
Right. I'm just saying, but I just don't know what the outcome would have been because we know it's not going to be good because we're never going to find her, or we're going to have to say she's dead if that's, it's weird.
It's sort of like when people fake like a terminal illness. If you're going to fake something that big, people are invested in the outcome.
Because if she's not real, you can't rescue her.
Yeah, right. You can't come back from that story once it, I don't know. Okay, go on.
Okay, so folie à deux, or shared psychosis, is a rare psychotic syndrome in which symptoms of a delusional belief and sometimes hallucinations are transmitted from one individual to another. So this can be brought on by stress or being socially isolated together. So were the volunteers working close together, experiencing this, and like social media allowed it to like get out of hand? Like maybe they were, I don't know.
It almost, it kind of reminds me of third man syndrome. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't know.
Usually when like people are in like really intense survival situations, right?
Okay.
So like there was these group of mountain climbers who were, something happened, like an avalanche or something, they get stranded, they have to go way off course, and like it's a survival story, right? But all three people in the group started to see a fourth person who was like
weird
leading them.
Weird.
And it's unknown if it's like
I've never heard of that. That's so weird.
I've tried to write the episode a couple times and I just like, I can't wrap my head around it either, but it's like in these perilous situations, this like figure of hope almost emerges to like.
So it's kind of cool. Like, it's not like it's a bad thing, I guess.
No. And they don't know if it's more of like a psychological, like you said, like the hallucination sort of deal, or if it's like, you know, your actual psychic energy producing this thing. But like that maybe would explain this a little bit, but like usually that person is helping, not being helped.
Right. Okay. So a tulpa. So a tulpa is a materialized being or thought form, typically in human form, created through intense concentration. Modern practitioners call themselves tulpamancers. And so they have a dumbed down version of like a way to explain it. And it's basically a type of a willed imaginary friend.
Yep.
I'm sure you know that I lean more towards an egregore, which is an esoteric concept representing a non-physical entity or a thought form that arises from the collective thoughts and emotions of a distinct group or individuals. So to me, that's more like kind of what maybe happened here, because we have a bunch of people like talking about it and bringing it about. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
I don't know. So did like one rescuer think there was a little girl down there, and then social media made the thought form come true type of deal, you know, because you have all these people thinking it's real and the hashtags and all this stuff. So, you know, or I don't know, maybe there was just the spirit of a little girl. So kind of like what you were thinking. So maybe it was a little girl that like she died, like Frida Sophia, like at a different time, and she was trying to help others get rescued.
Possibly.
which I love that thought. Can you imagine? Like maybe she had nothing to do with this. She just had died a while ago at that school or something. And they were like,
What about, are there other buildings nearby where she could have gotten trapped into that one that like maybe weren't accounted for?
Possibly, but nobody ever came for her, which is so weird. And no one's ever come for her. So it's really weird. So here's where we could maybe debunk everything if we kind of wanted to.
Okay.
So I will tell you that there was a student named Sophia that was there.
Okay.
And the rescue dog's name was Frida. So did somehow somebody get this all fucked up?
Right. And then once you get a couple other people involved, then it just... I could see that, but I feel like those are two also very common names in Mexico.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, what are the chances that the rescue dog's name was Frida? Now, I will actually, let me say this. This is one article that said that the dog's name was Frida. So let me actually just put that out there. I'm not holding that one too high, but I'm just letting you know.
It's a possibility. So
this really could just be a story of complete confusion and hysteria. Like, we have so many thoughts of what it could be, and it could just be everybody's going wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Spanish newspaper El País attributed the case of the girl that wasn't to a lie or a collective psychosis, suggesting it mirrors the story of Monchito. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, who is Monchito?
Who is Monchito?
Remember way back when I told you about September 19th, 1985?
Oh my God.
That 8.1 magnitude earthquake, which is still such an odd coincidence. Well, Monchito was the ghost boy. Monchito was a 9-year-old boy said to be trapped under the rubble of his apartment that collapsed because of the 1985 earthquake. I have goosebumps right now. So the story is pretty close to Frida. Luis Ramon and his family were sleeping when the earthquake struck. Besides himself and his grandfather, the rest of the family escaped. And from what I can tell, it was his mother, father, and grandmother. So they all got out. Him and grandpa didn't make it. So Wednesday, almost a week after the earthquake, rescuers determined using knocks that there was someone alive in the apartment. They were knocking, they were getting knocks back. So they were like, oh my God, somebody's under there. They determined it was a child named Monchito, which was Luis's nickname, like, because he signaled with a knock. Yes. Is your name Monchito? Okay. Yes. Okay. Like with Frida, they make tunnels to try to get to the boy. But by Friday, they still had no contact, but we're still getting responses. So again, this is like a week later, like a long time has gone by. Like, this is even longer. We're getting these responses, which is just, it's so weird. Jose Negrete emerged from the building Friday to say that voice contact with Luis Ramon had been made. So he was a volunteer. And he's saying there was voice contact.
Oh, so now it's past the knocks they're actually hearing.
Correct. So multiple efforts, volunteers, equipment have been bringing in. So again, like Sophia, to reach the boy. Just like Sophia, the rescue attempts were aggressive and widely publicized. But after 17 days, they stopped because there was no possibility of anyone being alive under there, and he was never found.
So that's what I was going to ask too about. I keep forgetting if her first name is Frida or Sophia. Frida. Obviously, they still had to clean up everything once the dust settled.
They never found
a body. Okay.
So in the same way as Frida, Hope turned it. It was thought that there was like Hope just turned. They were like, nope, absolutely not. And then they were thinking he was never alive. Because one of the architecture or whatever that was like helping with this building was like, there's no fucking way that this whole entire apartment or building collapsing, anybody could have survived even a day, let alone 17.
Yeah. There's no way you're living 17. So what point did the voices and the knocks stop?
So that's the thing. They never really said that they stopped. They're just like, there's no way that we can continue this because it's been 17 days. There's no way he's actually alive, and we can't keep putting resources into this. And he was never found. So according to the Spanish newspaper, that same one I talked about earlier, a psychologist deemed the incident a product of collective psychosis, which is the same thing as like the shared psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so bizarre. So A.J. Willingham put it perfectly in her CNN article. Crisis and chaos can often scatter reason and push us back to our more basic functions. And emotion, it seems, is the ultimate override. So now we can discuss.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. What I'm starting to think is like, there's a section, what is it called? The fusiform face gyrus, right? The section of your brain that is one, it helps you recognize people's faces that you met before, but it's always looking for patterns. It's the portion of why when you like, you can see a face on the front of the car or you can see things in the clouds, right? Is it something like that? Is it a brain function where you're so focused on all this rubble to find a human that you start to see it?
And like, a human.
Maybe the wiggling of the fingers, maybe there was some movement in the ground and they thought they were close to her hand. And, you know, it's just you start to, your hope takes over your reasoning.
I don't know. Here's what I think. Like the choice of words, especially in the 2017 one that they use, like not a reality. And, you know, like Mexico, and I feel like that culture is very spiritual and just like all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. It's just like the way that they worded these types of things. Like it's not a reality. It just kind of tells me everything I need to know. Like, I think they'd be a ghost. I don't know.
I mean, I could definitely see that, right? You're going to have more spirits in the area than were just there at that time. So maybe if you're feeding it and giving it your energy, like it's like, all right, give me the milk and the resources. I'm finally getting some attention here.
The biggest difference is Monchito was an actual boy. Like his family was thinking he was alive this entire time, right? Where Frida, nobody came for her.
His family just never found him.
Correct, because remember him and the grandpa. But the thing is that they don't ever think he was alive. But then they're like, well, then who was knocking, tapping, and like rapping on the walls and shit in response to our questions? But it's the same thing like Sophia. Like, okay, like you just said, yeah, maybe we probably did see stuff. Because even when you look in the dark woods, you're staring and you're staring and you're staring, you start to see things. Okay, right? Because your brain does that weird shit. But it's like, okay, so, but we heard her. We fed her. What?
Yeah, it makes zero sense.
And it's like these knocks are in response to these questions that we're asking. They're not just like random knocks. And then that one man said he got verbal confirmation.
So what did the government say about it? Were they just kind of on the...
It's not reality.
Okay.
That was a government official that said it is not reality.
So strange.
Isn't that weird? So I think it's some sort, I don't know. I just think it's that culture over there. I just think it's fantastic for that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that.
I mean, there could be so many other things, like, you know, with Frida Sophia, with it being such an, you know, a publicized thing, like really publicized because there was internet at that time, social media. It really could just be like an egregore that just like, you know, got a little bit confused. Somebody thought they heard Frida Sophia. It went way bigger than it needed to be, and maybe they couldn't back out of it. I don't know.
See, and that's where I was totally on, you know, my skeptic brain. I was totally on the skepticism part once you started to lead me to the fact that she wasn't actually physically there, is that mass hysteria. Because I can see that with, like I said, you know, you think it's fingers moving the rubble or whatnot. But it's the synchronicity or the coincidence when you start to look at it was the same day 30 years prior and then a similar situation. That adds a whole nother level of just like...
Okay, but wait.
Oh, God damn it.
On September 19th, 2022, there was another major earthquake.
Shut up.
So Mexico now thinks of this as a cursed day. And with 3 earthquakes and 2 ghost children, I'd say so.
Okay, I was waiting for the third ghost child.
I really wanted there to be one, but there wasn't. I really wanted there to be
There
one.
wasn't that caught everyone's attention.
This is true. There probably was. But, so September 19th...
The Mexican government's like, we're not going down that again. Cut that story. Until we have a body, don't run it.
So September 19th, don't be in Mexico.
No, I think I'm good. I'll stay here in Michigan where we don't have fault lines.
Isn't that wild, though? I still don't really know. I think they're just little ghost children.
I wonder if it's... Well,
I definitely think Frida Sophia is a little ghost child. And I think she was trying to help people get out. Like, those 5 children, they're alive. Maybe they were alive at that time. She was trying to... Yeah,
like, help and lead them to it. Because you're right, it is, you know, especially, like, the Mayan culture, right, was very spiritual and very much of the earth, too. So you have to think some of that remains, especially into Mexican culture, and you know, the Day of the Dead and the lost ancestors.
That's what I'm saying.
They always come back.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. So I think for sure,
you're in the period of the year where the veil is thinner at that time. But it's just a very strange.
Isn't that so crazy?
I could write it off so easily if it happened once. Happening 3 times with 2 similar situations, and possibly even a third one that just never got reported. That's wild.
That is what's so weird. And I do have to shout out, it was like a reel that caught my attention. And I think it's called Our Creep Time or Creep Time. And it's this guy that just does little bits of creepy stuff. And he was just talking about her. And when I started looking into it and then Manchito popped up, and then the fact that there's 3 earthquakes on the September 19th, I'm like, this is actually weird.
Yeah, you're like, how deep does this go?
Right. This is actually weirder than just Frida, which is
interesting.
Crazy enough as itself. So remember, before sharing news about the effects of an earthquake, verify the information with government sources, rectify the data before taking any action, inform the appropriate authorities. Okay?
And make sure you're looking at actual fingers before you pour milk on them. So weird. Yeah, I understand why they gave her milk, but like if I'm in
like,
dusty
just give
rubble,
me juice. I just want water, truthfully.
Some ice cold water.
It's okay.
Then again,
I'll throw up.
You're not supposed to drink the water.
Well,
so
they can.
What?
Can't they?
I thought they would just have to drink like bottles, and I can't imagine there's like tons of it. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I could be really ignorant, but I thought it was one of those things like if you visited, you shouldn't drink because you didn't grow up there and you're not used to it. But they
because you have like no immunity. Oh,
yeah.
You might be right on that. I have no idea. I'm talking out of my ass.
All right, well, that's what I have for you. Little Frida Sofia and Manchito.
Nice. I'm so glad that we're recording later than normal so I can sit and ponder this. I'm probably going to do some Googling because this is just like...
Isn't it? It's just really weird. It's those coincidences are so crazy. Here's what really gags me. This is that, can you imagine you go at 11 a.m. to like a drill, a remembrance memorial, and then 2 hours later, the exact same fucking thing that you remember. Like, what?
And that's like, so I listen to a lot of NPR and they're always testing the emergency alert system. And I think the amount of tests we do of these systems make us super numb to them because I don't even react. So like if something were actually happening, it's like we live in Michigan, okay? If a tornado actually hit on a Saturday, not one person would go for cover because that's when they test the tornado systems.
I mean, this is true. Definitely true. I feel like this is obviously just a crazy coincidence. Well, it's not, I don't think it's coincidence, but in the term of things, this is a crazy coincidence that it's just like they were doing that memorial that day, which happened to be somewhat of a drill. But I mean, again, like I was kind of saying, they were getting that emergency alert as it was happening. So it wasn't even like, yes, some of them got it where they thought it was just part of like the earlier drill, but like some were getting it literally as it was happening.
Yeah, I mean, how much warning do you get on some of that stuff? Dang.
I don't freaking know.
Wow, wild. Okay, well, you've left me with more questions than answers, but I think that's what we're here for, so you accomplished.
So really, that's all we have for you.
I'm trying to think of something to wrap it up with, but I'm just so stuck on what it could be.
Isn't it weird? It's a weird one. It is one of those ones where you're just like, this is strange.
If y'all have theories, if y'all have run into ghost kids, write it in. Let us know your thoughts. I know Kara's not gonna like.
Unless
if you want to make, here we go. Maybe this will work. If you want to make Kara uncomfortable, write in about ghost kids. She loves them.
That will work. We'll kind of get an influx of stories about this. Okay, well, that's really all I have for you. It's so late here. I'm very tired.
Nice job, though. You did great.
Thank you. We love you, appreciate you.
If you love us and appreciate us, leave us a review. We would
tell a friend.
Appreciate and love you back if you did that.
Tell 3 friends, tell your mom.
Your mom would love this podcast.
Your mom, we're so mom friendly.
She is waiting.
We're our mom.
To listen to this one.
We're our mom friendly. Everybody else's moms, I don't know, but our moms.
Right. Like, our moms love it. Mom approved.
Okay. Anyway, I'm done. Do all the things that we usually ask of you. Again, we love and appreciate you, but most importantly, creep it real, oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.